Hello guys and welcome back to the channel, and today I'm here to showcase you all of course an 3-axis Infernity deck profile post the December 2024 Forbidden Unlimited list of course. 3-axis is really not like a great way to play Infernity right now because of all the non-engine of course running around, and that other builds are just way better than 3-axis. I can just tell you already that this isn't even the top 10 best Infernity variants at the moment. I really only recommend this variant if you are on a if you are on a budget, of course. Otherwise, if you have more money in order and you want to play Infernity more on a competitive level, then of course I recommend builds like Infernity Horus with Fiendsmith, Ubel Infernity, so without the Fiendsmith engine, Fiendlink Infernity of course being the best Infernity variant at the moment. Chimera Infernity, Chimera with Fiendsmith Infernity, and the list goes on. This just really loses from way too much hand traps and interruption at the moment. But it is a really fun and really cool deck for locals. So I don't recommend it to play it at a regional or higher, but it's very fun at locals, and you can actually go really good at locals if you if luck is in your side, of course, and you get to win the die roll, of course. But yeah, of course, shout outs to the Infernity Discord, of course. Love you all, of course. And of course, all you watching, thank you all so much for always being there for me and watching my content, of course. And Infernity Best Deck, Infernity for Life, of course. 3-axis is one of my favorite Infernity variants at the moment, and I'm really glad that we got the dangers back at 2. And still, of course, it's not, like said, not the best Infernity variant at the moment, and it's really cool for local level. So yeah, let's just get into it, of course, in the deck profile. So starting off with the main deck, we have triple Infernity Archfiend, of course. In this variant, this is a much purer variant than other variants at the moment, which makes it great to see Archfiend in your opening hand, so you don't have to, because this deck is centered around Cherubini and Fiendish Rhino Warrior, in order to dump Rhino Warrior, to dump Harris or Stygian Street Patrol, or just Archfiend directly. In order to, this deck is all about accessing Archfiend, and opening Archfiend in 3-axis is just really insane, so you can just send Stygian directly from your deck in order to, of course, banish Stygian and summon Archfiend from your hand. You can also play it at 2, that's just perfectly fine, but it's also really viable to play 3. You can cut it down to 2, but I really like playing it at 3, of course, because he is the best guy ever, best card ever made. Then I play double Infernity Necromancer. Again, you can play just one of Necromancer. I just love playing at the 2 sometimes, giving it follow-up, and you can access the second one easily by sending Sage, or summoning it off Saryuja from your hand, of course. Yeah, it's also perfectly fine to play it at 1, and then of course play Archfiend at 2, of course, and then just play more non-engine, which I recommend. But I'm now just going for more Infernity names, and I really love Necromancer at 2 in this variant, same with Archfiend at 3. Then for the other 2 names, we play 1 Patriarch and 1 Sage, of course. You don't need more of these. Sage is a really good one, of course. You can make this deck more into a Transmodify build, normal summon Sage, and then Transmodify Sage away for Necromancer, and then dump Archfiend directly from your deck, which is really cool. I also have a variant of that I can showcase, of course. And of course, all my sample deck lists are in the Infernity Discord, and that's included too. So you can look at that if you would like that more. Only thing is, Transmodify just dies to Ash Blossom, which why I played it more. This variant is more extender wise, just to extend you more through interruptions and hand traps, of course. And one Patriarch is always the correct ratio. Don't play more or just play none. I just really love having it for Dugares. But you can perfectly play none, but don't play more than one, because that's weird. And really bricky. One Stygian, one Rhino, and one Harris, of course. All Puralist, you should play these names. Of course, you want to send Rhino with Cherubini, and then either send Stygian with Rhino, or either send Harris with Rhino in order to access Archfiend, or of course you can just send Sage, send Archfiend, of course. Yeah, these names are just must play in this variant. These are bricky. Harris most, of course, because it really doesn't do anything on hand. Like, normal summon Rhino Warrior is okay, I guess, because you can then just extend by any other level 3 extender and just go full combo, of course. But Harris doesn't do shit, and if you all played head format, of course, setting Harris in the back row is your favorite card to set in the back row, but don't do that, of course. But yeah, you should play every one of these at one. You can play 2 Stygian, but that will break more and you really don't need it. Then, of course, these guys got released from the ban list at 2, of course, so we'll probably get them back at 3 next ban list. I really hope so, because these cards are crazy fun. I really love Dangers. And they, of course, are the best level 3 extenders. And just what they do on their own, they can draw into more extenders, or they can draw into more non-engine or engine, of course, if you need that. Yeah, these are just great for 3Xs. These are really insane for 3Xs. So play them at max. Then for the following cards, I play 3 Speedroid Terror Top and 1 Takatomborg. Yeah, these just make 3Xs. Like, on their own, these are just a free Cherubini. You should play these in this variant, of course, for how insane they are and for how easy it makes to access Cherubini. So always play this in a 3-axis variant. Yeah, you can see Takatomborg in your opening hand. That happens. But then you can just discard it away with Void Apocalypse, or because in this variant I didn't include a main normal summon, because I really wanted to be extender turbo, so you can normal summon your bricks, because this deck really gets bricky sometimes. I also have a more tour guide version with the Transmodify, of course, in the Infernity Discord. Link to the Discord, of course, in the description. So look at that, of course, if you want to play it with the tour guide normal summon. I just don't play it that way because Imperm on tour guide or Ash on tour guide. Like, the only thing why I also would recommend it and why these are like the best way to play 3-axis Infernity, why they are both like great for 3-axis, of course, wise. It's because if you also open transmodifying your tour guide gets impermed, you can just transmodify your tour guide away for Archfiend, of course, and then just go full combo. But I tested it out more this build, and I actually really like this more than the transmodify build. So yeah, this is always a card in 3-axis. You should play it at 3 because it's at 3 and it's really crazy for how free it is. Then I play 1 Psychic Tracker and 1 Psychic Wheelader. Yeah, these are just great level 3 extenders and are just never bad to open, because you will always see a level 3 in your hand most of the times. So these are just free extenders and getting you easier to Cherubini, of course. Then for the spell cards, I'm up to 3 Return of the Reaper. Yeah, in this variant, you really love to see opening it, because opening with a reborn spell is just full combo. So for example, Terror Top plus Return of the Reaper is full combo, because you can make Cherubini, then send Rhino, then send Archfiend Sage, and Sage Archfiend of course, and then just Return of the Reaper, summon Archfiend back and just go full combo. Yeah, so having as many reborn spells in the deck is really cool and really viable, because you really need it sometimes, and this helps. This at 3, like opening this, helps you play through Interruption much easier with this variant, of course. So that's why 3 Return of the Reaper, and of course it's an insane card, for sure. Then we play 1 Succession, 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Foolish. You can play more Succession for sure, because it's not bad to open at all, like said. I just like while testing, I tested it at 3 first, but you can really brick in more copies, and I just really only use it to search it off from IP, because IP, making IP is so free in the deck, and then searching Succession helps you with extension. So that's why I only play it at 1, and this is just really for 3 axis wise really insane, of course. Then 1 Monster Reborn and 1 Foolish. You always play them in like every variant, except for Fiend Link is the only exception where you don't play it, because you really don't need it, but these are just main Infernity staples, for sure. Then for the last normal spells, I play 2 Trust and 1 Talent. Yeah, these are just insane like always, and they make playing through Interruption much easier, for sure, for Infernity. So what you can do if you cut the Archfiend and Necromancer down to 2 and 1, you can even do Archfiend at 1. I just always really recommend in pure builds to play at least 2, because of Bestials existing, and you won't always see Return of the Reaper. So that's why if you do that, you can play 1 more Trust or more Talents if you'd like. You can even play Ash Blossom in this deck. It's a level 3, and you don't have a main normal summon like that. You can just go normal summon Ash and then just use your extenders in order to make Cherubini, of course. And Ash Blossom being, of course, the best hand trap of all time. So you can play Ash Blossom in this deck if you'd like. And yeah, Trust and Talents just really basic for Infernity, just really crazy for us. And then 1 Called By, because it's the 1 Called By, and still at locals you will get Fuvalost and Shifted, because even Rogue decks play these, and Thunder decks play those cards. So Called By is always insane to play, never bad to play, because if you have it, you feel like a god, of course. And then, of course, sadly, 1 Infernity Launcher. Bring it back to 3. It's coming back to 3 next Banlist. Trust me, trust me. So yeah, for now 1, and I really hope to see in 3 months, when we get a new Banlist, 3 Launcher, of course. Then Void Apocalypse at 3. You can play this at 2 for sure. I just really love to see it, but breaking in more copies is really... it happens like really sometimes, so you can really just cut this down to 2. I love playing at 3 because then you will see it more, of course, and it's an insane card for these kind of Infernity variants, being able to discard 1 card and send 1 Fiend from your deck to the graveyard, making accessing Archfiend, Stygian, or yeah, or dumping more Infernity names is really insane with this card, of course. But you can definitely cut it back to 2 for more non-engine. Then for the Infernity traps, I play 1 Infernity Break and 2 Barrier. Why not 3 Barrier? Because I think if you are playing more traps, you should never play 3 Barrier, but always 1 Break. And 2 Barrier, because otherwise yeah, really, if your Infernity names get outed, you still have an interruption, and it's just really insane together with Unchained Abomination in this variant. So that's why I always recommend, if you're going for more traps, play one break for sure, because break is an interruption. If you get randomly sphere mode, or no, most of the times you end on 3 Infernity names, but if you end on 2 and you get Lava Golem, you still have Infernity break, of course. Together with Unchained Abomination, which I find really insane from testing. And then lastly, of course, 3 Imperm, because it's Imperm. If non-engine, always play Imperm. It's the best hand trap we can play, of course. Then for the extra deck, I have 1 Arms of Genix Return 0. Why this card? Because it's really insane of how many attributes you play in this variant. So you can make this easily together with Diabel and Ip. And then just go with 1 Sage with Diabel into Arms of Genix. So you don't get on your end board Nibiru. Because this is a light. So you have a light. So you can stop Nibiru with this card. I really think this card's insane for pure Infernity builds. And builds like, you can also play this in builds like Horus or just Synchro Infernity builds in general. Then the 1 Diabel, yeah, this card's insane for us. I mean, it adds launcher back together with Ip. If you use Ip and a Necromancer, you can just add launcher back and get a succession. Insane for how good these 2 cards are for Infernity. So yeah, you should definitely play these. Then for the 1 Exesis Dugares, of course, if you play Patriarch, you must play Dugares, because otherwise it makes Patriarch useless. Yeah, this card is just crazy good for Infernity and helps with the extension in these kind of variants. Then for the big Link 4 boys, we play 1 Zealantis, 1 Abomination, and 1 Saryuja. You play these because Zealantis helps extending, and Saryuja into Zealantis is very insane in this variant. Just getting more searches with Archfiend, of course, because and of course it resets Necromancer soft once per turn, so you can use it again. Unchained Abomination is part of your end board, and combined with Infernity Break, it's just really crazy. And Saryuja has just been an Infernity staple for always, and in pure builds you will always see a Saryuja. Yeah, the better and more competitive Infernity builds don't need Saryuja because of the of how insane and how extending the engines are for Infernity at the moment. Your main card of your extra deck is Cherubini, of course. Already explained why. Just 2 level 3s. Sending is for cost, by the way, so if people imperm this, you still get your send. So yeah, this card is of course your main card of 3 axes. Sending, always send Rhino Warrior, or if you already have everything you want, just send Necromancer, of course, so you already have your extra Necromancer. And then Rhino Warrior for Harris, or for Archfiend, or for Stygian, of course. And then we have 1 Sprite Sprint. It's in here for if for example, if your hand is wacky, and you can just use Cherubini to send Rhino, send Stygian, and then further down you can extend further into Sprite Sprint, sending Sage, sending Archfiend, of course, and then just going full combo in the process. So this is really if you have wacky hands, or if you get way too many interrupted, you still have a way to Archfiend. Then 1 Muckraker. This is just in case. Also really good in your end board sometimes against specific decks. But if you get interrupted earlier, you can use Muckraker to revive Necromancer or Archfiend. Then you are Fiend locked, of course, but you can still end on interruptions, and that's why we play it. Then of course Yama and Super Producer. Yeah, these cards work way too good together, and you can use Producer to get rid of your own Sprite Sprint, of course. And Yama is of course the Fiend Link, and it's just an insane card for Infernity. With these two cards you can extend insanely good. Then we have one SP, one IP, of course. Your end board, when you go off, of course, of course, is you can end on the Abomination, IP, the Arms of Janix, and 3 Infernity names. Then of course your 3 Infernity traps. Yeah, it's really crazy if you go off, like always with Infernity. If we go off, we just basically have 1 already. And then you can use IP to link it away with one of your Infernity names, one of your 3 Infernity names, of course, and make SP for even more interruption. And of course, SP makes going second way better. And SP is really cheap at the moment. Really the most expensive cards of the decks are Triple Tactics Trust, SP, and Yama. Yama was like 4 right now, if I remember it correctly. SP is like 6, and Trust is like 6 to 10, if I am correctly. So those are really the most expensive cards of the deck if you are on a budget. And if you are even more budgeter, then I wouldn't even recommend to get Infernity, then just get another deck. But if you really want to play Infernity and you are on budget, then this is the deck for you, of course. For local level, again, at a higher event, you will just get completely obliterated because of how insane the meta is at the moment. And then, of course, we have one Nightmare Phoenix. I just really love to have this, making going second go easier in order to get rid of those annoying back row decks, which really still exist. This is really just a flex spot, so you can do whatever you want with Nightmare Phoenix. But I just really recommend the Nightmare Phoenix, of course. So yeah, that was for the main and extra deck. I hope I explained all correctly, and if you still need more explanation, then let me know in the comments, and then I will be gladly doing that so for you guys. Then for the side deck, 2 Artifact Lancia. At locals you can still see Malice, of course. You can set this card in the back row. The meme is real. This is a real Infernity card because it's a monster you can set in the back row. But yeah, this card makes Malice and other banished decks just already heavy weak, and making it go second against those decks is really easier now because of Lancia. And like I said, you can set it in the back row if you have more in your hand. This is a 40 card deck, that's why I played 2 at the moment. You can also really just play 3. Then triple Dark Ruler. You can play Droplet over Dark Ruler. I like Dark Ruler in this variant more because you have a lot of extenders and a lot of plays you can make with a lot of cards in hand, and then just emptying your hand in the process, of course, which I find Dark Ruler more insaner than Droplet, because this directly just turns off the entire board of your opponent, and then you can just go combo easily. And because we are playing evenly matched, of course, this is just very good in this variant, and then you can just make your unbeatable board. And your opponent cannot get a comeback, of course, then. 2 Lightning Storm together with Dark Ruler. This is insane and just against those annoying back row decks. And if your opponent doesn't have any protection, you can just use this. This is really just interruption bait, of course, like always Lightning Storm has been. Then triple Cyclone against those annoying back row decks, and a lot of decks are still using their field spell, so use Cosmic Cyclone for sure. And of course against the back row decks, like I said, I really think Cosmic Cyclone is still really insane in this format, and a lot of people agree, of course. And then triple Evenly Matched together with Dark Ruler. If you open this and Dark Ruler, you are you are a true god, and then you can just break the boards easily. These 2 cards really make breaking boards with Infernity much easier. And it's searchable by Trust for sure too. And then speaking of Trust, these 2 as Trust targets against Ryziel, of course, which you can still see at locals for sure. and other decks just in general making use of only one extra deck summon, making this card really insane for what it can do. And Artifact Sanctum is in order to summon Lancia from deck, so it's another Lancia basically. You can just play a third Lancia over this, but I liked Sanctum more since also searchable by Trust. So yeah, that was it for the profile. Urgent, of course. That was it for the profile for today. I really hope you all enjoyed, and like said, this is not the most viable option to play Infernity, of course, because it just loses from too many things. It's a very fun variant to play at locals for sure. And a very budget wise, so if you are a really you have a big budget and you want to play Infernity, then I recommend this. But of course for locals, if you are going to play at a higher event, of course, then there are enough better budget decks than this. This is just really for locals, of course. And yeah, 3-axis is one of my favorite Infernity variants, so that's why I wanted to showcase it. And because of post Banlist, we have Jack and Noko back at 2, which makes this deck which gives this deck more extension and more ways to play, of course. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed, and if you need any more explanations, let me know in the comments. And of course, let me know what you all want to see in the next couple videos, of course, for all kinds of variants, TCG, Master Duel, even wanting to do OCG and more dual links, of course. So yeah, just let me know what kind of Infernity content you all would like to see, and I will be gladly to do so for each and every variant, of course. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all so much for watching. Infernity best deck, Infernity for life. Let's see, launcher back at 3 next Banlist for sure, and Infernity support also soon, I really hope. Bye bye.